This is Snake. You're listening to the Kojima Productions Report with Ryan Payton, so pay attention.
Welcome back, Ryan.
Yay. Where are we?
We're at Sound Deluxe.
Again.
Hollywood, California.
Beautiful place to be.
A week before Christmas.
A few days before Christmas.
Yes, this is true.
We didn't expect to see you back so soon.
Yeah, you know. I didn't expect to be back so soon either, but it's been kind of a running theme for 2007.
We love you.
I love your money.
That's Chip Beeman. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chip Beeman. I am the voiceover manager and new business development manager for Sound Deluxe Design Music Group in Hollywood, California.
Wow.
I'm Kris Zimmerman, voice director for all of the Metal Gear projects since they've had voices.
Yes. And I'm Ryan Payton, and I do this podcast.
Yay.
That's about all I
Nice
do
and
these
simple.
days.
That's it.
And I won't be doing it next week and the week after.
Because it's the holidays.
Because it's the holidays, so I prepared the best of the Kojima Productions Report, collecting some of my favorite clips over the past 2 years.
Am I featured in any of them?
No, but
some
I
of the
am.
best clips of the past 2 years.
Thank you. I see where you're going with that.
Just joking. But you did actually catch up on a lot of the recent shows, didn't you?
I did. Last weekend, I downloaded like 6 or 7 of your podcasts, and I put them on my iPod, and I was cleaning out my garage, and I listened to you and Ken, and what was the Aki, and I listened to Kris, and I spent a couple of hours just listening to you talk about the business, and I came in and I told you on Monday that I thought it was very inspiring. I didn't know that you knew that much about video games. I know nothing. So to listen to you actually speak about the business and to have such a passion about Metal Gear and all the things that you guys are doing, it was really refreshing.
Oh, thanks, man.
You're very welcome.
It was really nice of him to come in. Yeah, that on Monday morning he said that, and I really appreciate it because he's like, Ryan, you know a lot about this business, and I was like, yeah, it's the only thing I know.
That's what he
But
said.
Ryan, can you change the spark plug?
No. Yes, I can.
All right.
I really can.
You learned
but that's
how?
about as far as I can go. Can I change the blades on my windshield wiper? No.
Oh, shoot, because mine need changing.
Well, don't call me. Call Chip.
All right.
Call Justin.
Justin will do it.
Justin, can you help me with the windshield wiper blades?
He says
Great.
yes.
All right. So I thought I'd make this show kind of mailbox centric. We got a lot of great mail in from listeners over the past week. Tons of mail. I'm talking about maybe 50, 60 or so messages from listeners with a variety of questions. And so I thought I'd just jump into it. Maybe you guys are free to jump in whenever you want and respond to some of these things. So.
Sure.
Does that sound cool?
Sounds great.
Yep.
All right, so starting off with Steve from Australia. He says, "Good day, Ryan. As an American abroad, what do you think about the U.S.'s inability to look outside of their own borders? And do you think this affects their gaming development, or do you think the gaming industry in the U.S. is becoming more globalized now?" And I brought this up specifically because you guys work in video games, and you work with Japanese clients quite a bit, and you also work with American clients, and I think Steve brings up a good question. My personal opinion is that Americans are very good about looking beyond their own borders because we're very multicultural. I mean, we have people from all different races and cultures and backgrounds developing games. If you look at the Halo 3 making of and the behind the scenes, I mean, they got such a multicultural staff. It's pretty impressive. And if anything, I think it's the Japanese industry that needs to start expanding and bring young people, maybe more like me or like Ben Judd over at Capcom. People who can kind of mix up things and bring in a kind of different influence. So what do you guys think?
I actually agree. I mean, one of the things that I learned before coming to Sound Deluxe, I was a producer at a couple of other companies, and I mean, we're going back several years now. I think I've been here 3 years, but and I knew that there was an initiative back then working with THQ and Disney. It wasn't always about just satisfying the U.S. market. It was making sure that there was a lot of focus on the European markets and just doing game development abroad.
Right.
So no, I don't feel. I mean, in the comment where he says you think it's becoming more globalized now, I think it was becoming more globalized back then.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely heading in the right direction.
Kris, you
Yeah,
work on.
I have clients all around the world, really.
Yeah.
And also a lot of the content of games is very multinational.
Right.
Even including different languages within a game that's based in the U.S.
Right. And one of the titles you've worked on, and I know it's been recorded at Soundlux, was the from the Age of Empires. And that game, I think, arguably might sell more outside of the U.S. than domestically. And I know that they create that game as an international hit. You know, this is not just for Middle America or anything like that. So.
Right. And same thing with, same thing with SOCOM.
Definitely SOCOM, yeah.
It's another game that we developed that we it's developed here, but it's taking other regions, other languages, other areas, other countries into account.
Right on. So moving on to the next question from Norway. So how do you pronounce this guy's name?
I think it's Chalv.
Jalve?
Okay, well, he says, I just figured you need to know that you keep spoiling stuff from MGS4 in the podcast. It's usually nothing major at the time, but you have revealed things like the fifth area in MGS4 will be Outer Heaven. You also recently spoiled what the intro to MGS4 will be like. Please decrease the amount of spoilers in the upcoming podcast. Well, I thought I'd respond to this because, first of all, I haven't said anything major about the opening move. I haven't spoiled anything. And
I don't think so either.
And about the fifth area being Outer Heaven, like all I can say is it's not that simple.
Nothing's that simple.
Nothing's that simple in Metal Gear, and it's all part of a big plan.
Have you told him about Tom Cruise being a special guest?
Oh, Chip!
More spoilers.
I'm sorry.
We were just talking about spoilers.
Sorry.
Oh,
I forgot.
well, let's move on. This is a good.
Yeah, I think we need to.
This is another bit of clarification from a listener. Kais from Saudi Arabia. Hey,
Kais.
Ryan. First of all, happy holidays to you and Ken and all the staff at Kojima Productions. And here's my question to you. In the English demo that was showed at E4All, there was a part where Otacon talks to Snake and gives him advice about how to use CQC, and he mentions that Snake has moves that are dependent on the weapon equipped, and that there's CQC for almost every occasion. This is the part I don't understand from Otacon. I know that I wrote a lot of sentences, but I'm really hoping you can answer it. Thanks, my friend. And basically what he's referring to is we have a codec sequence, a real-time codec, in the beginning of the game that where Otacon says to Snake, don't forget there's a CQC for almost every occasion. There's a CQC move, and it really depends on what weapon you have equipped. So you can do a full-on CQC where if you have a one-handed weapon and grab him from behind and throw the soldier to the ground and do a variety of different things. But if you have a two-handed weapon like an M4, like an AK, you can still grab the guy, but you're gonna have limited amount of abilities and things. So
even if you have a weapon, you're able to use CQC.
Yes. So this is a big thing for us. Is in MGS4 was really complicated. We'd always be talking about CQC and how great this new system is. And it was really confusing because people would try to do CQC when they had a two-handed weapon and it wouldn't work because we didn't really explain very well that you need to have a one-handed weapon only. And so,
is this new to MGS4 or did you have this kind of?
We had like the preliminary, very first CQC system in MGS3, and then in MGS4 we're trying to make it a little more streamlined, so you can have pretty much any weapon and still do CQC.
Sweet.
So if you go up to a soldier and you hit the attack button, you're going to grab them and pretty much have your way with them. Depending on whatever weapon you have, it's going to change the outcome. So just thought we'd clear that up. And this is a really great email from Manuel from Portugal. And I thought I'd read this off unless you guys want to get some airtime.
Go ahead.
It's kind of a long one.
Go
ahead.
It's your show.
Are you sure?
It's just my studio.
All right, you read it.
No, go ahead. I'm just kidding.
Right.
This is sad.
This is a good email. He says, I'm 18 and I live in Portugal. Last year, my girlfriend broke up with me. My grandfather passed away, and school wasn't getting any better. So I started to get insecure and doubting myself. Staying at home, only studying jazz guitar and playing video games, I started to skip school. Some months later, I was getting into depression. I've been playing Metal Gear since Metal Gear Solid 1. As a true fan, I have my sacred MGS marathon every year where I play every game again. So Subsistence was out
nice.
in Europe. I bought it, and I thought it would be a great idea to start my marathon that week. I played every game, including Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2. You're very hardcore, by the way. Until I got to MGS 2's ending. It was really late, and I was home alone and extremely focused on the game. So I beat Solidus, and the cutscene began. Slowly, the game was trying to tell me something, and it hit me. I finally understood why I was here, living my life. It was like Snake's dialogue was telling me to stand up and keep going. I felt a little bit like Raiden, confused and looking for something to believe in. And Snake gave me the answer. We need to pass the torch and let our children read our history by its light. Building the future and keeping the past alive are one and the same. Please don't make fun of me. It was so beautiful. I felt like it was meant to happen, so I decided to fight. I went to the doctor, and a couple weeks later, I still started to feel better. I'm going to school now and having a normal life with my family and friends. Now I feel like a much better person. This may seem strange, but Metal Gear Solid really helped me get through a very hard time in my life. That's why I think MGS is more than a video game. It really teaches us about life. I'm now taking a course in physics, which I love. I don't have much time to play games now, but I have a lot of studying to do, but I'm already saving up for my PS3. Thank you, Ryan, and keep up the good work on the reports. That was a really nice
What a
email.
wonderful story.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic. That someone
Manuel,
can take this much away
congratulations. That's great. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, I mean, we always try to have important messages in each of our titles, and MGS2 really does have, I think, a good message about leading by example and by doing good things in the future, and by continually do things, you're going to be making good history in the process. So
Good. Congratulations, Manuel.
yeah, that was great, and thank you so much for taking the time to write that. So moving on, I just want to address this. I've been getting a lot of emails lately. I guess maybe a lot of people have been buying PS3s for Christmas, or the sales have gone up a lot since the price cut. But a lot of people have been emailing me asking for my PSN ID or my gamer tag, and I just wanted to mention I can't give it out over the air because I'm going to just get bombarded by messages, and same with Facebook and all that stuff. So I don't mean any offense if I don't accept your request, but I usually keep it just for family and friends. And
I could completely understand that.
yeah, I'm a little
upset. I was one of the people who asked for it.
really.
Well, I have it.
What?
Yeah, I gave it to Chris.
Okay, I'm done. Cut. I'm out.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on, Chip.
You don't even own a next-gen console.
Oh, quiet.
What's the latest console you have, Chip? Is that the Super Nintendo?
I have a Sega Genesis. What's the matter with that?
Oh, that's great.
16-bit platform. It's
Yeah,
nothing
it's
wrong with that.
blast processing.
No, I have a PS2 at home. I haven't gotten a PS3 or an Xbox yet, but not yet.
Well, maybe
I'm
Santa
waiting for my
Claus-
PS3.
Yeah. Well, we finally give you a reason to get one, Chris.
That's right.
And so you can get this, and then we'll give you the game, and you can watch your
And
son
then I
play.
can have somebody play it for me.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can catch a monkey.
Well, we'll see how easy mode is. You know?
Exactly.
It really depends on that, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. I am not skilled when it comes to...
I'm very much in favor of games having like very easy modes. Because sometimes even games easy modes are really hard for non-gamers.
For
Gamers,
beginners, yeah.
right.
People that don't have the time to do it.
And they want to enjoy the game. It's just that, once they get in there and they start playing and they become frustrated, so
Right.
then they stop playing and you really haven't accomplished anything.
Is that why you haven't got a next-gen console lately? Because games are kind of hard.
When I started playing Pac-Man and I couldn't beat that, I was
I
very
could beat
upset.
Pac-Man. I rock at Pac-Man. So one thing, we were here at lunch one day and we had the Xbox on and found out that they had Pac-Man. And I've always said about how bad I am at games. And I'm playing with Ryan. He's watching me and he's like going, "Whoa,
You're pretty good.
you're good at Pac-Man."
Hey, Justin, what's that Pac-Man one called on Xbox Live?
Can't hear you.
Pac-Man Championship Edition.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pac-Man
Rocks.
That was very good. Speaking of games, Chris, you need to play No More Heroes because I've been looking on message boards and people are blown away by the voice acting. in
I
that
can't
game,
wait.
which
I
you
can't wait
directed,
to
by the
see
way.
it. Yes, that was No More Heroes for Mr. Suda
Yes.
and Grasshopper Games.
Yes. So yeah,
Marvelous.
people are very very impressed.
Great. Cool.
So good job on
It was
that.
a lot of fun.
So moving on
Moving on.
to a question that I'm not quite sure how to address because I think I got my facts wrong. But it's from Stuart Burns from England. And he says, I heard you liked the Mars Volta, Ryan, and wondered if you knew that MGS1 was recorded in the same mansion that DeLouse and the Comatormia was. The co-producer, Rick Rubin, now owns that mansion and still records there. Now, I asked you before this podcast, was it this Valentino's mansion which we record MGS1 at?
What I believed where we were recording MGS1 was Valentino's Mansion, which is in the flatlands of the Hollywood area,
Right.
in the city part. Beautiful house, but not up in the Hollywood Hills,
Which it looked like when I looked up Rick Rubin's mansion, it looked like it was in the Hollywood Hills. So I don't know. There's some confusion there, but yes, I'm a huge Mars Volta fan. Very excited about the new album coming out January 31st. Very excited. So you guys don't know this band.
No.
No.
Well,
Houdini's mansion is in the Hollywood Hills.
there
Maybe
you go.
Houdini's mansion.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason I kind of brought it up is because when we were first auditioning for The Beast, who Fred Tatasciore performs,
Yeah.
I was initially thinking of casting or trying to get Cedric, the lead singer of this band, to come in
Oh, sweet.
and audition for it, because he can. I think he could probably pull off a very monstery voice, but I think Fred really,
rocked.
really did a really great job.
Fred
so.
did a fabulous job.
And also semi MGS related is when I was living in rural Japan in the countryside of Japan, around E3 time. This is when I was just a freelance writer and I was teaching, and I decided I really wanted to go to E3, so I spent all my money I had, and it took me 24 hours from door to door, from my front door in rural Japan to the front door of the LA Convention Center. It took me 24 hours of traveling. I didn't sleep the whole time. And just going from train to bus to train to then the plane and then transferring just to get the cheapest ticket. So when I got to the E3 show floor, for people who know, if you go into the hall and right on the left is usually the Konami booth, and I saw that a new Metal Gear trailer was on there, and I watched it, and I was really, really exhausted, and I started walking, and then I kind of started falling down, and then all I know is I passed out, and I woke up an hour later, like just where I basically passed out, like nobody moved me.
Nobody even saw.
I checked my back pocket, make sure my wallet was still there. Yes, it was still there.
Sensitive people in Los Angeles.
Like I literally just blacked out. Like just,
Unbelievable.
and
And they just stepped over you.
Yeah, they just stepped
That's
over me.
hysterical.
You see a lot of weird people at E3.
Sorry about that, by the way, Ryan.
Yeah. I
But
couldn't
you guys
I
were
couldn't
there.
get your wallet out of your back pocket. I was trying.
We tried.
And
Well,
so,
I got your shoes on right now.
oh, damn it, that's right. So yeah, shoeless. I walked to the Wiltern, the concert hall, and that same night I had tickets for the Mars Volta, and I was very excited about seeing this concert. Even though I was like so exhausted, I went there. After the show, went back to the hotel. I was just dead sick because when you don't sleep for a while, you're exhausted.
You get weird, yeah.
You get weird and you get sick. So the next day, my parents came into town, and my mom bought because I had 2 tickets for 2 nights of Mars Volta, and she bought the tickets off me. She says, "You are not going to this show. You give me your tickets. I'll give you your money back." And so I had to stay in the hotel. I couldn't even go to E3 and report on anything. I was so sick. My parents had flown down to LA to hang out with me.
But they had a
And
great time at the concert, didn't they?
They didn't go. They didn't go. They were like, my dad's like, hell no.
What's this Mars Volta?
Is it like the Bee Gees? It's like, not exactly, Dad. So yeah, just that's all. That's gonna probably wrap up the mailbox. I think that's all I got here. But I just want to say that I've had. Actually, I want to say thanks to Daniel in Israel who sent me a great message. It's kind of a personal message. He just said I didn't need to be read off the air, so just want to thank him for that one. And also say that I've had a great 2007. A lot thanks to you guys for your hard work on MGS4, and for coming up on the new year. Just kind of reflecting on the past 12 months, and it's been absolutely insane, but a lot of fun.
This
You
year's
made a
been-
lot of new friends.
Yeah, this year's been a lot of fun, Ryan. I kid you a lot and joke about how much
Yeah, sometimes.
of a pain you are, but
Yes.
the truth of the matter is it's been a great experience for us,
Yeah.
for everyone at Soundbox and everyone involved.
Yeah, I
So-
made a lot of new friends. It's been great.
You can come back.
Well, I'll be back next year for sure.
Well, are we telling the people why you're here right now?
No, we're not.
We're not telling
Well,
them?
we'll do that next year.
Oh, okay.
And
So they're all trying to guess right now, like
well-
why you're recording?
well, they can come up with some crazy theories, and that's part of the fun, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I just thought
Ryan's back. That's
Ryan-
all there is to it.
I'm back in the U.S. That's not big news, really. I mean, this is 15 times this year, I think.
Yeah, this is really no big deal.
60, 61, 62.
Oh, no, seriously. I mean, how many sessions for MGS4 are we at now? How many days? I think we're over
57.
7?
Are we 57? That's it?
57, I think.
I think it's a little more.
Or more?
Oh no, I think
Oh, I forgot. We
Yeah,
Yeah.
With Alex and
probably closer to 60, 65 maybe.
so
If
2000.
you count everything.
Yeah,
the people at the
2007,
Marriott know you very well.
the Marriott, the Sheraton, the
the
Roosevelt. Seriously, I joked about this at the beginning of the year that with Ken and Hideo, I said, I should just I should
Rent
really
an
just rent
apartment.
an apartment this year because I'm gonna be there a lot for MGS4, and And they said, yeah, well, it's not going to take that long. Come on, be realistic.
Oh, please.
Yeah. If you were to guess how many lines of dialogue that you put together
Oh,
for
shoot.
you had to record, what would your like off the cuff guess be?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
It's at least, it's over 2,000 page script, though.
Yeah. I mean,
Well over a 2,000 page script.
What I've been meaning to do is just take a picture of the stack of scripts.
The stack,
Because
yeah.
I have it back
Didn't
in
we do
Japan.
that the other day?
That
Like,
wasn't the whole
That
thing,
wasn't
though.
even the thing.
Oh,
The whole
That was
thing.
only what we had here that week.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 3 feet tall. So,
Holy crap.
3 feet. Okay.
That's about 5,000 pages.
Are you coming back next year?
I'll be back.
You got more stuff to do?
Yeah, you know
More
Are we-
pages.
Are we talking about MGS5 at any point?
it. See, look at you. You're like,
He's baiting.
Yeah,
He's just baiting.
it's like having the press on this show now.
I just want to find out what happens next.
You just want to see what's on your catalog for 2008.
Exactly. I want to know what I'm doing next summer. Hey, Ryan, I'm going to be out of town between.
Exactly. So, how's 2008 look for you guys? Is it gonna be a busy year? Is it kind of hard to say?
It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, I do have some things coming up. I'm working on a couple of animated series right now, which are going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, you told me a little bit about one of them. It
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
yeah. It's going to be real fun. And have some games lined up and hope to see you again
Yeah,
real
definitely.
soon.
Yes.
And for me, well, can't really tell you the names of the games, obviously, because
Obviously,
of
it was NDAs.
non-disclosures. But I can tell you this, that we've got, as of right now, we've probably got about 4 months already booked, solid, with all different games. And all of December of 2008, that's a year from now, we've got a
Is that
client
booked?
booked.
Wow.
And it's partly because of the upcoming possible SAG negotiations.
Oh,
and-
right.
and,
People
you
are
know,
getting prepared.
people are getting prepared, so they're holding a lot of time. So I've got September, October, I've got bookings in July, and I've got all of December, and people are just and these are really, really big games.
Cool.
I mean, we've got a pretty good resume, and Chris has worked on a ton of our big games, and there's a couple of others, and I haven't even told you about half the
Things.
stuff.
I think I'm having a meeting with Chip in a minute.
Yeah. But there's
me
a
too.
lot of big
I want to
big
hear about
games
these
coming.
games.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to 2008. I think we had a fantastic 2007 with the Capcom projects and the Sony projects, and of course Konami and Kojima Productions. But 2008's looking pretty good.
Well, 2008 is looking good for Metal Gear fans. And I was thinking about this morning when I was kind of mentally preparing for the show, is that 2008 is going to be the ultimate year for Metal Gear fans. Not only because MGS4 is coming out, but because we're putting out so many different kind of products, not necessarily games, but like the Kubricks, our figures, and all these different Metal Gear related things that I'm just getting permission to announce. I'm waiting on permission. to
What
talk
kind of
about a lot
figures?
these things, like the Kubricks, the small Kubricks.
The little guys?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then the 6-inch figures, and then the 12-inch Old Snake and Raiden, MGS4 Raiden figures.
Wow.
I mean,
Oh,
that's
fabulous.
just like the tip of the iceberg for the stuff that we're planning. And so, yeah, 2008 is gonna be very exciting. So hope you guys stick around for another 52 podcasts or 54 podcasts from Kojima Productions. It's kind of hard to believe that I think we're at 71 right now.
Wow.
So
Is really that many?
yeah,
Wow. Okay. How long have you been doing this?
almost 2 years. I took a little hiatus during the portable ops development because it was so hectic, and I kind of panicked and just really couldn't do both at the same time.
Right.
This time with MGS4, I'm trying to like for example with Christmas, I'm preparing like the best of editions and things like that, trying to be a little more prepared because I know when I'm going to be busy. But portable ops was just the most insane project, and there really wasn't a schedule. It's just like let's do it.
Here, do
Let's
it.
just do it.
So
And
this
let's
is-
make it good.
This is the time that you're going to take a break. When are you going to come back and do another podcast?
We'll have a fresh podcast at the beginning of the year, like the first week of January.
Okay.
And so one thing that's very exciting is a friend of mine, Mark McDonald, who's formerly of GameVideos.com. He's going to be in Japan for a number of weeks, so we're going to be recording podcasts, and we always have good shows because he's very much a hardcore Metal Gear fan. He asks the tough questions and gets the good info out of me, but not too much. Like we got those emails about the spoilers, but trust me, it's all in the control. You guys have. I'm just scratched the surface with this game. You guys don't know anything that's going on in the title.
No clue.
Even though we talk about it every week, you guys still.
Buy the
Still
game.
alive. Yeah.
Wait to play the game.
Yeah, you won't play this game going, I already know everything.
No.
It won't. won't even be like that.
You can't even guess.
The whole Tom Cruise thing is really going to blow their mind.
Chip!
I'm just saying.
All right. So let's go on to the next question from Ryan in the United States.
Hi, Ryan.
I am really interested in a career in voice acting and wondering if you had any knowledge of how to become one. Well, I don't have any knowledge of how to become one, but we might have somebody in this room who does.
Well, maybe a little. Ryan, I would suggest that you, first of all, you need to be an actor. It's not simply a voice reading job. You really have to understand how scenes work and how characters are developed and how you become and own a character. Best way you can do that is to take some acting classes, whether it be at your local college, whether it be with a professional acting coach. I have no idea where you live, Ryan, but if you live in the California, New York, or Chicago areas, there's many, many professional acting classes available to you. For video games, it is also helpful to be very versatile, to be able to do more than one character. Video games range from serious soldiers to the comedic, so the more range you have, the more ability you're going to have to be hired.
It's not just about doing funny voices.
Oh, no, you have to be an actor.
You're at home and you can do this one voice. It's really not about that. You really have to be an actor, like you said.
And going through literally hundreds of lines of dialogue a day, when we're doing mainly like full soldier actors, like that's the hardest for me to keep focused. I don't know about you, Chris, if it's the opposite. If you pick up that
I get amped up. Yeah,
with the amped up with the actor. But for me, it's like after the 500th scream, I'm like,
they're all sounding the same.
Oh, my head is just.
It's hard, yeah. And part of what I do is, the actors in an isolated booth by themselves.
Yeah, you got to be.
I have to
like,
keep their energy up.
Right.
So there's nothing harder for an actor who's, screaming their lungs out to have a director go, all right, take 3. How can you respond to that
Right.
with a large amount of energy, unless you're being fed that energy from somewhere.
Well, I do love your tactic of like pretending to beat them down like Nancy Kerrigan with an invisible
I throw
baton.
punches.
Yeah, it's
I throw
pretty sweet.
invisible punches. It gives them something to
something
respond off
reflect
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just reminded that I'm not going to wrap up the podcast here. I'm just going to lead into another section, which I prepared previously. So when I was up in Vancouver, BC, I recorded a podcast with the guys over at Relic, the developers of Company of Heroes. Mm-hmm. So let's go into that podcast I took. It's about a 25-minute long discussion I had with those guys. And that's going to end up in this kind of Kojima Productions related titles discussion. I'm going to go into something that's more of a hobby for me. I really want to talk to these guys about one of my favorite games called Company of Heroes. It's a real-time strategy game on PC. And so for those of you who are interested in hearing about new games and non-Kojima Productions titles, well, keep listening. And for those of you who don't want to hear anything about a PC game, I'll see you guys in a few weeks. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays,
Happy
everybody.
holiday. Take care. Happy New Year.
Thanks, guys, for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome. Enjoy it.
This is the special Company of Heroes Relic edition of the Kojima Productions Report with
Shane Neville. I'm the producer on Company of Heroes Opposing Fronts.
And I'm Josh Mascara, the design director of Relic and Company Heroes.
Well, thanks for joining me, guys. This is a really impromptu meeting. I just as a fan, I'm in Vancouver, meeting some people, and I know that you guys are Vancouver, BC. So I thought I just through a friend of a friend, try to see if we can make this all happen because I'm a big fan of Company of Heroes and the series. The first one and Opposing Fronts. So I just wanted to chat with you guys and maybe get the word out to our listeners who obviously love games, who love detail in games because Metal Gear is very detail oriented, obviously like a military theme. And I think the two kind of go together in a way, Company of Heroes and Metal Gear. I think there's a lot to like about both of them. Yeah, I was going to just maybe shoot you guys a few questions if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're huge fans of Kojima's works. So.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting you say the whole thing of details because in many ways, Company Heroes is really all about the details and really trying to create that really sort of authentic experience. And not a little. I think every single nut and bolt on the Sherman tank was like carefully scrutinized by all our artists. And our
That's
designers.
important because I think maybe 5 years ago that was just kind of brushed over, right? With a lot of Western development, like it wasn't important, right?
Yeah.
And this leads into my first topic. Really, is like we've been playing. I've been pimping Assassin's Creed to a lot on the podcast, but something we noticed when we were playing it is that the attention to detail, like how the character climbs up those walls, and he's actually his hands are on each ledge, and it's very very detail orientated, and something that we've noticed from that Western developers are really taking, putting a lot of care into their games, whereas it used to be up until now like a Japanese thing, right? This is only the Japanese will do these kind of crazy details.
Yeah, I think it depends on the kind of experience that you want to make, and Company Heroes is that high fidelity, authentic experience, and to be able to do that, you need to have hundreds and hundreds of animations for idling. Like if your character in Company of Heroes, even though your camera's pulled way back, if you zoom back in, they'll scratch their face, they'll drop to one knee, and there's all these animations. And a lot of that subtlety you don't obviously notice,
right?
But it all adds up into this authentic real world experience, so you feel like the world's much more alive than in a lot of other games.
Yeah, and I think as a former soldier myself, like all those little details, like getting the guys when doing their idle animations, like I worked a lot with our animators like Aaron Aldershaw. It's just like, no, when soldiers are standing around, they're not just standing around. They're like, they have a certain way that
they're scratching their butt.
Yeah.
And,
or
exactly.
they drop to one knee, and things they do with their rifle, they don't just stand there, tapping their foot.
Right.
They that level there are things that you don't notice if you're a casual player, but they build up into that experience.
Right. It's kind of like subconscious, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially if you really, why focus on all these details on an RTS? And I think one of the goals we had is that if you look at a lot of RTSs before Company Heroes, there's a tremendous amount of abstraction in there, and that doesn't make the gameplay feel very visceral or immersive or anything like that. So sure, we wanted all these details not just to make the game look good or anything like that, but really make the immersive play in the action, really suck them into making them believe that yes, they're controlling real soldiers. These are real battles that they're fighting for, and it was just basically it's really important to create that mosaic of believability for the player.
Right. Yeah. Are you guys motion capturing anything, or is that all by hand?
By hand.
That's impressive.
Handcrafted.
Yeah, we have a lot of gun props hiding around the office that people randomly pull out and pretend to shoot each other with. But that's what our animators pick up with their mirror, and they look at themselves and they see how they move, and then they go in and they animate. And
we have our share of gun nuts. We have a whole closet full. I mean, it's like that scene from The Matrix,
Yeah, guns, lots of guns.
Yeah, exactly. And we have plenty of guns. And one other thing I was kind of curious about, like when we make Metal Gear, basically we've got 1 million different pieces, and we have 200 people working on those different pieces, and then it all comes together at the very end, and then we polish it up. And like even right now, it's still in a very rough state. We could play through the game, but it's not very interesting. But that's a big deal for us right now. We can actually play from beginning to end, and we're still a number of months away from launch. But how does it work for you guys? Can you actually play the game at an early stage, and then do you build on top of it, or does it kind of come in together at the end like it does with Metal Gear?
The game's always running. We use Scrum at Relic as project management system, and one of the core parts of Scrum is always keeping the game running. So, months and months and months and months before launch, we were playing multiplayer games every Friday as a team. And I'll tell you, if the whole team gets together on Fridays at 4:30 to play multiplayer games, and somebody's bug causes the game to crash, they hear it every single Friday. So everyone makes sure that the game is stable and that it's
make
always
sure that
running.
the code is clean.
Yeah, make sure that the code's clean and the game runs, and you can build around that environment. As a studio, we've been around for a long time. We've got lots of art assets we can use to have placeholder art until the final art gets developed and things like that. But always, always, always keeping the game running is really, really key for us. Because especially in an RTS, because you've always got to keep the multiplayer side going as well as the single player side. So the game has to be stable and running.
That's really interesting. Like it's that whole that pressure. If you guys want to play multiplayer, there's that pressure to make sure that everything's running smoothly. That's cool.
Yeah, we really needed to get things dialed in, so we did a big team tournament, and I tell you, the game was really solid from that point on, because everyone made sure that it wasn't their fault.
Yeah. One thing that I really appreciated about Company Heroes, and when I first played it, is that the narrative, like adding a narrative, like a real narrative to the genre. And I think StarCraft kind of introduced this idea to me that it could actually happen within a real-time strategy, like a narrative about story and things that with characters that you care about and events that you can kind of relate to, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be a nonfiction event like World War II. I mean, with StarCraft, it's a science fiction, setting, but you still cared what was going on. Can you guys talk about how you add narrative to your titles?
Yeah, well, I think if you look back at Relic's, history and starting off with Homeworld, like narrative has always been a very important aspect for us, and specifically what you mentioned is make players believe and invest themselves in the experience. And it's really important for us to have not just have mission objectives, they're just mission objectives because we say they're mission objectives. We really want to make the player feel that what they're doing is furthering their experiences or furthering the story. So, basically when we start thinking about narrative, we're not just talking about the story or the dialogue. We really see gameplay as part of that narrative. And I think one of the things that Accompanying Heroes does really well is that with all the crazy physics we have and how destructible and reactive and dynamic some environments are, is that every time we play a mission, something different is going to happen.
Right.
And that's going to that micro personal narrative that we have that we call it's one of the cornerstones for us in Relic. And really for us, in a lot of games, the narrative starts and finishes when the cinematics play, right? Mm-hmm. And in between those we have gameplay. But for us, we want the cinematics to blend seamlessly into the gameplay, drive the gameplay, and then reward the player with a really cool bit of cinematics.
Right. It's funny because many years ago I thought, how cool would it be to have cutscenes in an RTS and then to actually zoom in right into the gameplay, like Final Fantasy VII does, And then I played Accompanying Heroes, wow, they did it. This is cool.
Yeah, and it's not easy. It's actually a lot of work and a lot of back and forth. But the end result, at the beginning of Mission 3, the Karantan mission, it's seamlessly you go from an NIS or what we call non-interactive sequences right into the gameplay, and the UI comes in, and for the player it feels like a really seamless experience. And that is one of the, if I had to classify Relic games, it's all about visceral, seamless experience.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, so when you said lots of back and forth, how that mission's going to start, where the initial soldier's going to be placed, and then the cutscene unit has to lead into that basically.
Yep.
I mean, that's.
Yeah, so our animation team and our design team work really closely together to get that through. And one thing that, being relatively new to Relic, that really, really impressed me as I started to understand the storytelling and narrative methods that go on. RTS games are about being that commander and being high and removed away from the soldiers.
Right.
And Accompanying Heroes as a game is very much about the soldiers and the soldiers' tales, and I think that comes from Josh, being a soldier himself. And really, when we're making design decisions, Josh will just come up and be like, no, that's not what a soldier would do. That's not what a soldier would say. And so the story comes from the soldier's perspective in a game that's told from the commander's perspective. Right. And how that comes together in Accompanying Heroes, it's really impressive, and it shows that seamless experience that everyone at Relic really pushes to create.
Well, and how did you guys approach the narrative with Opposing Fronts, your new title, in particular with the new campaign, the German campaign? Because I remember reading, or I think it was even, I was watching a show with Sean Elliott, and he was interviewing you, Josh, about it, and you guys said you were maybe not a little bit nervous, but you're wondering how it's going to turn out because a lot of people, most game developers avoid the topic of letting the player play as Nazi Germany. How did that turn out now the game's out? Has there been any uproars or angry emails, hate mail, death threats?
At the beginning, no death threats, no angry emails, and I must say that I'm surprised, but it's kind of cool that people were pretty receptive to the idea. And I guess we went through a lot of pains to make sure we did it in a very sort of respectful and a very sort of a mature manner, and we did all our research,
right,
kind of stuff. But at the beginning, we were pretty we were a little worried about, especially having been in the Canadian military and market garden. The regiment I served with was one of the regiments that actually, you end up playing against in the market garden campaign. So it's kind of there's a whole thing. But it's just it's a work for history. And again, as a soldier, I think it's important to tell the story of those soldiers fighting, and really soldiers, tend to fight for their own reasons and not for political reasons.
Right. So. Well, first I gotta state that I haven't finished the German campaign. I'm still working through the single player. There's a lot of games to play these days, and a lot of work to be done on a game called Metal Gear Solid 4. But how do how do you approach like motivating the player as playing as the Germans? Because obviously they don't want the Germans to win. I mean, they know that the Germans lose in World War II, but still, like, how do you motivate the player? Do you guys? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, that's one of the reasons why we picked Operation Market Garden, because that's one of the. I mean, not only is it a really sort of cool campaign, you know, it has some really, you know, incredible fights between, like, you know, elite British commandos and panzer units and all this kind of stuff, but it's also one of the few times that the German forces actually managed to win,
right.
especially after 1940 and
1944.
So that allows us to sort of create sort of a compelling campaign direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, like, everybody's either seen or heard, you know, a bridge too far, and you know, so that's
right.
kind of like a bit of the challenge. Can you actually stop, you know, the British and Americans before they capture all the bridges?
Right.
And I think that the big thing is, again, it's telling the story from the soldier's perspective, and the characters in the German campaign.
Yes, it's not Hitler's perspective, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they're fighting to protect their home. That's
right.
why they're fighting, and that's something I think everyone can relate to is protecting your home. And it's not about invasion or Nazi propaganda. It's, you know what, we've got family back home, we've got friends back home, and we're fighting to protect them at this point. And that's something I think a lot of people can relate to.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. There's actually a lot of, like, I wouldn't say propaganda, but there's a lot more chatter in opposing fronts. I've noticed with the voiceover work, like just yelling across the way. You know, you guys are idiots. No, you guys are idiots. No, but it's a lot more complex than that, obviously. But
Yep.
I've always been kind of impressed with the voiceover work, and I have to admit that I've stolen a couple of voice actors from, or it's been inspired to cast a couple of voice actors after hearing their performance in COH. So Nolan North, who actually is the lead in Uncharted. I don't know if you guys knew that. He's the lead character. He's Drake.
Wow.
He's in our game as one of on a military side. I almost said the character's name, but I can't say that. But but when we see him tomorrow or on Monday, he's gonna be recording some pickups. But you guys have a great cast of characters, a great cast of actors that perform in COH. So do you guys do that down in LA? That's where we do it. We do it in Hollywood. Is that what you guys do most of your VO?
Yeah, we do most of that. Most of our recordings in Hollywood.
Yeah, we go down to California a lot and record for opposing fronts. We flew to Germany, and actually we got some criticism on the original COH that the German accents weren't as authentic. And so, okay, what's more authentic than a German person?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, so we did some characters in Germany, but we did most of them in LA.
That's cool that you guys went to Germany to do that. That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't, but
No,
John Tennant.
John Tennant, our audio guy, did, and he got to record in Berlin, and
Oh, that's great.
He
Yeah.
scored the cool trip.
he scored the really cool trip. Actually, Jen Lewis, who's our audio director at the studio, also got to go to Prague and record with the Prague Orchestra for our score.
Yeah,
So
of course,
that was
great.
pretty.
That was my next point. Like, you know, who does the music and where do you guys record it? Because it's great.
We had two different composers work on opposing fronts, one for the German campaign and one for the British campaign. And so it was Enon Zur for the German campaign and Ian Livingston for the British campaign. And Ian, managed to score the Prague Orchestra, and all of his stuff was recorded in Prague, which sounds spectacular.
Yeah, it does. No, there's no soundtrack out, is there? At the moment.
Not yet. Start a petition.
Yeah.
THQ.com, customer support.
Yeah, there you go. And moving on to Steam, actually, because now both Company Heroes and Company Heroes Opposing Fronts are available on Steam. Is this the future of PC gaming distribution? Yes or no?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, if just from a player's perspective,
Yeah.
I love the fact that I don't have to put the disc in their drive, and I can just log onto Steam, overnight download the games that I want, no matter which PC I'm, home PC or work PC,
Right.
and just have the games there. That's really, really good. And I think as a developer, it's actually really, really good as well.
Yeah.
Does that change how you guys approach like copyright infringement or like protection and I mean with Steam, is that with the disc version, is it easier to crack? Is that one of the motivations behind going with online distribution?
I think it's part of it. It's just a way that people prefer to get games. Like the simple fact of the matter is that there's a whole generation of people who don't buy anything in boxes anymore. And why do they?
Right.
If I can buy something digitally or buy it boxed, I'll buy it digitally. 95% of the time, I'll do that. And there's just a whole new way that people are buying stuff. And we get to work with Steam and Direct to Drive and all the other digital distributors.
Right.
And we work with them on their copy protection and stuff like that. And it's on our end, it's an extra week's worth of work for a couple of programmers to make sure that it all works smoothly together. But ultimately what it does is it means people that want to buy Company of Heroes at 3 a.m. can go out and buy Company of Heroes at 3
or
a.m.
when you're in Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the thing. I went and I waited for the box version. I mean, that's because I can't get to that point where I can only go digital. I have this fear. I have this fear that 20 years from now, like God forbid, there's no Steam. Like, what do I do? Like,
well, let's just say if there's no Steam 20 years from now, there's probably bigger problems in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably like mushroom clouds have gone off or something
probably,
like that.
Yeah. And there's probably more more games out there to play than I'll ever be able to touch. But I mean, I just get this same with the digital with music too. Like I kind of like having that backup, or just having it on my shelf. It's kind of a sense of insurance for me. I don't know what it is.
Download it in a couple different places.
Right.
I used to be that way. Like I used to be a pretty big collector. Like, I still have all my game boxes from back when PS1 and PC games from 1980s. Right. I still have the boxes. Right. So I like collecting those kind of stuff. I don't miss it.
Yeah.
I like the simplicity and the convenience of it. Like, for example, like right now, somebody could be hearing to this podcast and go, "Hey, that sounds like a cool game." They can go to Steam and within 5-10 minutes, already start downloading the game, and that's actually really really cool. Talk about instant gratification.
See, I had this theory, and it's over because Halo 3 is already out. But I thought that with like the new hard drive and all this and Elite coming out, I thought that Microsoft was leading up for digital distribution with Halo 3. For some reason, I had this theory, and it obviously didn't come true. And I thought even if they did do that, I would wait for the disc version because who's to say you're going to still have your 360 10 years from now? It's a big clunky thing. Like, I'm wondering if we're just going to throw away that hardware, throw it into the closet, along with all these games that you spent hundreds of dollars on. That's just my fear. But then again, like, I think it's exciting that I'm waiting to get over this hump and get back and get into this digital age like you guys. But maybe if you have some suggestions of some kind of meetings I can go to. But yeah, I think distribution, like digital distribution, is really exciting, and it's great for guys like me. Like, there's a lot of foreigners in Japan who work at game companies that only buy digital because it sucks having to wait for your mom to send you a game.
Yeah.
Mom, can you pick me up Call of Duty 4? It's really embarrassing.
Yeah. Mom, I said opposing fronts, not Company of Heroes.
Oh, I know. Gears of War was the worst because I had this. Either she was going to get me Guilty Gear, or she was going to get me Metal Gear. I was like, the last thing I need is Metal Gear. I got plenty of copies at the office, but thankfully she pulled through. So one thing I was really going back to the game, going back to opposing fronts. One thing I was really surprised about is that I already had the original Company Heroes put in the game. And it updated my original game with the opposing fronts chapters in it, and so it kind of built another layer on top of Company Heroes. However, opposing fronts as an expansion pack, you can buy it as it is, right? A standalone title. Can you talk about the motivation behind that? And
we love our players. As a person who wants to play something, I don't want to feel necessary to buy something else. But if I own both of them, I want them to play well together. And it was a big decision because it wasn't easy to do, and it meant that our game was going to be really big. But if you own Company of Heroes and I own opposing fronts, we can play online against each other.
Right, that's cool.
And that's really cool. And that's ultimately, like, every time we would talk about these decisions, it was like, what's the best for the player? What is the best thing for them to do? And it's like that drives all our decisions.
Yeah, and it also fits really nicely into our sort of the plans that we have for Company Heroes. Like, we really want to be sort of like the definitive World War II strategy platform.
Right.
Right, and for us, it's not just a series of individual games. It's really like we want to build a library and allow people, as they're playing within that World War II setting, to pick and choose the chapters they want. Hopefully, all of them. But if they don't want to pick all of them, if they're really just into the British, they can just pick that one up, and they can still play with everybody else. Right. So it really sort of starts creating a really good sense of community. We don't fracture our community. It essentially starts building, and it's basically like Christmas. Get
right.
A bunch of new goodies that you weren't expecting. And
you're talking about different chapters. I mean, and I'm not trying to trick you into announcing a sequel, but and it sounds more like a global strategy meeting. Like, so let's say you have Company Heroes A and B and C and D and F. 6 years from now.
But no E.
And,
there's no Company of Heroes E.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. What do you do? I mean, if you don't have E, is it still going to be combined altogether? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say there's Company Heroes 3, and I only have opposing fronts and 3. Is it still going to mesh together like that? Is that something you guys are worried about? Or?
Yeah, I mean, again, like, we kind of set the precedent with opposing fronts. So as long as we're talking, as long as we're talking about that sort of World War II platform that we have, is the expectation is there that if there's 5 chapters, for example, and you don't have the third one, everything can still play together.
Right. See, that's really ambitious, and I think you guys. I knew the answer when I was asking the question, but thinking about that whole process is just, it almost gives me a headache. And that's really ambitious of you guys.
Yeah. Well, something that we've already done with our Dawn of War line of products is that every time we release an expansion pack, it's basically we're adding, 2 new races, but at the same time including the previous X number of races. So now with Soulstorm, which is coming out early next year, there's going to be 9 totally different races that you can play in a whole campaign. And again, it's really like, we look at our RTS games really as platforms. Right? We try to support them as platforms.
Right, that leads really good into a question I had, and I have to admit again, I haven't had a lot of time to play opposing fronts, especially on the multiplayer side. And partly it's out of fear, because even with games like Halo 3 or Call of Duty 4, when you're not there on launch and you're not there in the mix on multiplayer, and you're getting left behind because people are getting better and better and better. One thing that's kind of been keeping me away from opposing fronts is this fear that I'm going to get my ass kicked every time I log on. Like, do you have any advice for players?
Yeah, I would say, well, first and foremost, we really try to design the 2 new armies, the British and the Panzer Elite, to be forgiving. And actually, this is something that we see a lot of. We saw it with our community. Like, if you come to opposing fronts, like having played Company Heroes, like, you have a bit of culture shock with the new armies. Right?
I'm going through the single player campaign. I'm going through that culture shock. Like, wait, the tanks aren't unstoppable anymore.
Right.
What the hell's going on? This infantry took me out. It was amazing.
Right, yeah. And it's, I mean, some of our reviews have also sort of like kind of dinged us for it. It's sort of like, wow, this is totally different, that much more intimidating. But if you're coming to opposing fronts, never having played Company Heroes, like, the British are probably the best army to really like get up and running, pretty competitive with it, and it's because we really try to design them to be sort of very, very strategic, very defensive. Like, you don't have to do a bunch of micromanagement. You just set up a couple of trenches, let the enemy come to you. They're going to smash themselves against your trenches and your elaborate defenses, and then you're going to get to push them forward.
So the British is more defense oriented.
Yeah.
And then if you want to just go balls to the wall, it's the Germans.
Yeah, it's
run and gun with the Panzer Elite.
Yeah. And then how about integrating the original Company Heroes and with the U.S. and?
Well, if you look at, as a broad spectrum, and there's the defensive side, and the British are the far defensive, and then there's the Wehrmacht, which is the German from the original Company of Heroes, and then slightly more offensive is the Americans, and then really, really offensive is the Panzer Elite.
I see.
And so when you look at the kind of stretch there, and you kind of figure out what your personal play style is. If you just want to be really fast, really mobile, always on the move, you're a Panzer Elite kind of player. If you want to turtle up, build your defenses, set up some artillery, and pound the heck out of people from behind this wall of guns, you're a British player.
Right.
And if you lean more to the middle, then you're a Wehrmacht or American style player.
And really, with our online system, since you get auto match with players of your similar skill,
right?
If you're just starting off, you never played opposing fronts before, like, you're not going to be matched against the people at the top of the ladder.
Yeah.
Right. So you'll be eased into it.
Yeah, totally. And just getting used to the system. The easiest thing to do is play lots of skirmish games. And slowly start stepping up the difficulty of your opponents. And there's a couple other things you can do. There's a podcast called Tales of Heroes, which is a fan podcast that's been running since before Company of Heroes came out. They were actually in the beta. And
oh, cool.
They're doing really good. And they do 2 things. They do like a video podcast where they do a replay, and they showcast over the replay, and they'll get guests in. But both
Tales of Heroes?
Yeah, Tales of Heroes. And, it's a really, really great podcast. And so just watching 4 or 5 replays, and, that's, 2 hours worth of time, that alone will give you a much better understanding of how, and these are like the best competitive players in the world, but that'll step up your game a little bit. And then you just go online and auto match. Like Josh said, we always usually have over 1,000 people online at any one given time. We've gone over 5,000 since we've launched opposing fronts. So we have lots of people online for people to play, a lot of new players, and if you just click on the play button, it'll auto match you with somebody else.
I think I just got too much pride. I'm afraid of losing, because I do those skirmishes on hard, and I do pretty well, but I'm afraid. I think I just got to jump in there.
Yeah, you just got to jump in there, and the community's. You get the occasional grief for like anything else online, but the community in COH is really cool. Like, our community loves this game, and they love playing the game, and they love when new people come on and play it. So
yeah,
it's always good.
you guys are lucky as we are. We have very passionate fans, and they contribute to the game, like even if they don't know it.
Yeah.
Like, indirectly, like we were thinking about what what they want.
Yeah.
And we think we have a good idea what they want. So we'll see when 4 comes out. But just to wrap up, man, I was just going to kind of wrap it up with like more of a cultural talk, but just kind of curious where Company of Heroes is really popular with like what countries around the world. I mean, I'm guessing Germany, South Korea, U.S. because those are generally like pretty popular countries that really like the RTS genre.
Yeah, UK, we do really well in the UK as well, and France actually does really well. But it's interesting. Our studio head general manager Tarny Williams just came back from a trip to Korea, and he said everywhere he went there, he's with all these big important THQ executives, and they'd be like, okay, yeah, so and so, and be like, and this is Tarny, he's from Relic. They'd be like, oh, very nice to meet you, and
Very nice.
all the games that Relic's worked on, they really hold highly, and
Good.
they had a lot of good feedback for the game and how to help it be more successful in Korea and things like that. But there were actually a couple of places where people booked meetings with him, and all they wanted to do was meet somebody from Relic. So it was kind of funny. He was pretty psyched on that.
That's kind of like me. I just showed up here at the building. I just want to meet somebody from Relic. What do I
Yeah,
do?
but we were like, hey, cool, there's somebody here from Kojima. Yeah, it's awesome. So it was total.
It worked out well, yeah.
Yeah, when Chad sent out the email, it's like, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, again, thanks guys for joining me on the show.
Thanks
and,
a lot.
Anything you guys want to pimp other than the Tales of Heroes podcast?
Well, Company of Heroes Gold Edition is out too, and so that's I think it's $30 US right now.
And what does that include? Is that
it's Company of Heroes includes an art book that includes
cool.
some never before seen concept art from the original Company of Heroes, which is really awesome, and it's like $30.
Oh, sweet.
So for what's in there, which is the full Company of Heroes game and an art book, and it's got some of the some new maps that have been released online before but had never been packaged before. So it's got those maps in there as well. So it's a good little deal.
Yeah, and opposing fronts on stores.
Yep.
Yeah, on
In
shelves
stores,
right now.
on Steam.
Yeah, and they play completely separate. You don't need to own COH to play opposing fronts. You can try your hand at the Company of Heroes World Number 1, and if you like it, you can grab the other and play all four.
Yeah, and switch to me and let me win.
Sounds
Play
good.
online.